You're walking home from the market. The day seems completely normal. You bought some food, you talked to a few people, and now you're heading home. Then, suddenly, a wealthy merchant points directly at you. Everyone turns to look. The merchant looks angry, very angry. He says you stole from him. You didn't. You know you didn't. The merchant knows you didn't. But that might not matter, because it's the year 1300. There are no security cameras, no fingerprints, no recordings, no forensic evidence. And being innocent does not automatically save you. People begin whispering. The accusation spreads, and suddenly your future looks uncertain. Could you survive being accused of a crime in medieval Europe? Most people imagine a modern courtroom. Evidence, investigators, lawyers, witness interviews. But medieval justice often worked very differently, much differently. Sometimes there was evidence, sometimes there wasn't. And that created a problem. How do you punish a criminal if you can't prove who is guilty? So people looked for shortcuts. One shortcut was reputation. What did people think of you? Were you trusted or were you suspicious? Another shortcut was status. Who had money? Who had influence? Who had connections? Now look at your situation. You are poor. The merchant is wealthy. You have no influence. The merchant knows everyone. People start believing him, not because they saw anything, not because they know the truth, because he's important. So what happens next? That depends on where you live and when you live. Medieval Europe was not one giant legal system. Different places had different rules. Your case might go before a local lord, or town officials, or even a church court. But all of them faced the same problem. Finding the truth was difficult, extremely difficult. Remember, there are no cameras, no recordings, no forensic laboratories, no DNA tests, just people trying to figure things out. Sometimes witnesses helped, sometimes they didn't. Sometimes witnesses lied. Sometimes nobody saw anything at all. Now imagine being the judge. One person says you're guilty. You say you're innocent. What happens when nobody knows who's telling the truth? Medieval courts had a problem. They needed a way to find the truth. So some courts used a very unusual idea. They asked God to decide. This was called trial by ordeal. And things get weird very quickly. Let's start with hot iron. Imagine being accused of theft. The court brings out a red-hot piece of metal, and then they hand it to you. Yes, really. You carry it for several steps. Then your hand is wrapped, and everyone waits. If the wound heals properly, God has declared you innocent. If it does not, you're guilty. Not feeling confident? Don't worry. It gets worse. Another ordeal involved boiling water. A court places an object at the bottom. Then you reach into the boiling water to retrieve the object. Then, once again, everyone waits to see how you heal. Same logic. God reveals the truth. And then there was the water ordeal. This one sounds backwards, because it kind of was. You are lowered into the water. If you float, the water rejects you, which means you're guilty. If you sink, you're innocent. Not exactly a comforting system. But medieval justice was not finished being weird. Sometimes there was another solution. Trial by combat. Imagine accusing someone of a crime, and they accuse you right back. Nobody knows who is telling the truth. The evidence is unclear. The witnesses disagree. So the court chooses a different method. Fight. Seriously. The idea was simple. God would help the innocent person win. The winner was right, the loser was wrong. A very direct legal system. But there was a catch. Not everyone fought personally. Sometimes you hired a champion. Imagine being 80 years old and your legal strategy is finding the biggest man in town. Not exactly what modern lawyers do. So would you actually survive medieval justice? The answer is, it depends. If you were respected, wealthy, and well-connected, your chances improved dramatically. But if you were poor, unpopular, or an outsider, even innocence might not save you. Most people were never forced into dramatic ordeals, but medieval justice was far less reliable than many people imagine. Now, let's return to the market. The merchant still points at you. People stare. Nobody actually knows the truth. Today, we often complain about courts, but for most of human history, justice was not about proving what happened. It was about convincing other people what happened. If you were accused of a crime in medieval Europe, your survival might depend less on being innocent and more on whether anyone believed you. Because in medieval justice, belief could matter more than truth.